Doctor Who, when you think about it, is a weird TV show. With 39 seasons and 13 actors all playing the same role, it's quite strange. No other TV show really has that. And being such a vast and long-running TV show, it's not surprising that it's attracted some of the best actors from across the world. However, most actors when signing on tend to just think that it's a one-and-done sort of deal. You come in, you play a side character, you get your paycheck, you leave. Maybe you come back for another story. But for these three, it's quite a different tale. Here's before they were Doctor Who. So, before we get into the three Doctors of note, I thought it would be interesting to start with a few honourable mentions, the first of these being second Doctor Patrick Troughton. Whilst he famously didn't make his debut until the first regeneration, Troughton's Doctor Who career nearly looked very different, with the actor being considered for the role of Johnny Ringo in Season 3 serial The Gunfighters. This I do believe would have been interesting, however I imagine we would likely have never seen Troughton as the Doctor after this. With recasting the lead being quite a radical idea for the time, I imagine they would have wanted a fresh face and as such, in my opinion, would likely not have hired Troughton. So as much fun as I imagine Troughton as Johnny Ringo would have been, I'm glad it never came to fruition. The second of my honourable mentions goes to Jodie Whittaker, who was apparently at one point in time going to play a villain in Series 5, and that's all we know. Which villain is unclear, although I quite like the idea of her playing Prisoner Zero in place of Olivia Colman. Whilst it's fun to speculate as to which villain she would have played, it is interesting to think that for reasons I will get into later, that this would have definitely not affected her casting in the role, due to the many years of precedent separating her and Troughton's potential Season 3 appearance. But enough of the nearly happens, let's get into the actors who were in the show before they were the Doctor. Hot off the back of the brothers, Colin was very quickly catapulted into the public eye, as the most hated man on British television. And as was the process at the time, this must have made him ideal in the eyes of John Nathan Turner. J&T loved getting big names to fulfill pretty much cameo roles in his Doctor Who stories, and Colin was at that perfect level of fame to fit into that group. And having needed somebody to play the devilish and conniving Commander Maxwell, and with Colin's reputation at the time of just a really vicious man, at least on TV, he would have been perfect, and definitely would have caught J&T's eye. However, when Colin received the phone call from his agent regarding the role, he was apprehensive. Having been an admirer of the show since its inception, Colin had always aspired to play the Doctor one day. There was a long-held belief at the time that you couldn't play the Doctor if you had been in the show at any point. This thought process permeated many actors, including Colin, and as such he was unsure if he wanted to take on the role. After being convinced by his agent to take on the role, Colin showed up on set and stole every scene he was in, even having to be pulled aside by J&T, who reminded him that the show was called Doctor Who, not Commander Maxwell.
The compound is guarded. If you try to leave again, my men will shoot to kill. See that the Doctor knows.
It was because of this role that he became good friends with a number of the production staff, one of whom was soon to be married, and I guess he made such a good impression that he was invited. According to many who attended the wedding, Colin was the life of the party, entertaining and putting a smile on everyone's faces. And it was during the car ride home from the wedding that J&T turned to his partner and said, "I think I've just found my new Doctor Who." And as such, Colin was offered the role of the Sixth Doctor. And with his casting came the shattering of the perceived barrier. Now there was no limit as to who could play the Doctor. I mean, you could be in it maybe multiple times and still get the chance to play the role. There's no longer any restraint, which was fantastic. And the next guy who did this certainly pushed the barrier. Some may be wondering why I include David Tennant as a part of this video. After all, he didn't make any televised Doctor Who appearances before his debut in The Parting of the Ways. There were talks with Russell T Davies about possibly having a role in Series 1, that never came to fruition. However, just because he wasn't involved on TV doesn't mean he wasn't involved at all, and this is where we talk about his countless expanded media roles. Having been a lifelong Doctor Who fan, David Tennant really aspired to one day join the show he loved so much. However, once he became an actor, this role seemed unobtainable as the show had been taken off the air by this point. It wasn't until Big Finish got the Doctor Who license that David Tennant would take his first steps into the franchise. The thing to be understood was that Doctor Who was considered long dead by this point, with every hope of the show's revival being squandered, and as such David would take any chance he could to get involved in some form. And as such he made his Doctor Who debut in Big Finish's Colditz, where he played fanatical Nazi officer Feldwebel Kurtz.
Well, Fräulein McShane, you will sleep alone in this room, but your meals and recreation must be shared with the other British prisoners.
Suits me. I'm not planning on stopping long anyway.
And then you should change those plans. You saw the inner courtyard of this castle? The cobbled area. We passed through it on the way to the cell block.
Yeah, I saw it.
That courtyard and the buildings around it now form the extent of your world.
He gives a menacing yet slightly pathetic performance in the role, and he takes it with all the enthusiasm that his fandom would give him. He would go on to make subsequent appearances for Big Finish. He would play Daft Jamie in Medicinal Purposes, and would appear in 2 of the Unbound series, with my favourite being his portrayal of Colonel Wood in Sympathy for the Devil.
Right, I want a full sweep of the area.
What, again?
Don't you what again me? There is a man somewhere out on this hillside, and none of you idiots can find him. Now, how difficult can it be?
Colonel, it was dark.
Dark? Dark?
Dear, oh dear, oh dear.
Zerdin, what is that big shiny thing in the sky?
Helicopter, Colonel.
Not that, over there.
The sun, Colonel.
Thank you. And now the sun is up. It is not dark anymore, and you ought to be able to find your own arse with both hands!
And probably most significantly, he would play Galanar in Big Finish's Dalek Empire series, which would also make it the first time his face was used on a piece of official Doctor Who merchandise. It would be during this time that he would catch wind of the production of Screamer the Shalka, made to commemorate the 40th anniversary of the show, and he would make it his mission to be a part of it. And he did. He shows up, has 3 lines, and dies.
We're locked up for the weekend! Go away! There's nothing here!
Please, just run! They're making us do this! Mitch, get back! Get back! Call the police!
Get off the fence! Get off the fence! Get away!
Stop me!
Get off the fence!
Stop me!
But hey, it's not like being a part of a Doctor Who anniversary special comes about twice in one lifetime, am I right? I mean, that would be ridiculous. It's happened thrice in his case. Finally, we have Capaldi, and each of them have had something quite unique about their casting, so let's see what Capaldi has. Well, for starters, he played Caecilius in Series 4's The Fires of Pompeii, and it gave us this marvellous clip.
Modern art! Out of the way! That's it!
You know, besides that, it was still a really, really good performance. And he went on to play John Frobisher in Torchwood's Children of Earth. And there was a little interview done afterwards where Russell T Davies said that he was some form of descendant from Caecilius, which was just a strange little thing to explain why it was the same actor. Strangely enough, though, this sort of thing became a precedent for Capaldi's Doctor Who appearances. One focus of his first series of Doctor Who is his identity crisis, following a regeneration he believes he shouldn't have had. And as such, this could have been the perfect time to use the fact that this face was there for a pivotal moment in one of his previous lives. And so with this, they waited until Capaldi's second series to acknowledge Caecilius at all.
I think I know what I'm trying to say.
Just someone. Not the whole town. Just save someone.
Come with me. I know where I got this face and I know what it's for.
Yeah, I don't get it. It would have resolved Capaldi's identity crisis really well in Series 8 if it had been played there, but its use in The Girl Who Died feels rather crowbarred in. However, this is the very first time that a Doctor's previous role in the franchise has been acknowledged. Colin never did it with Commander Maxwell, and David Tennant never did it for any of his previous roles, which is something quite unique that Capaldi has. And it's all really started from RTD saying, oh, it's the same actor, so we've got to explain why, as a throwaway joke. Funny that. Damn. I don't know how to end this one either. Lava monster?